It's creating this amazing table for me. I don't want ChatGPT to replace me as a tutor. What if my students just go and use ChatGPT and then my work is made redundant? By importing student data and performance metrics, ChatGPT can help me identify trends, areas for improvement, and opportunities for further support.
So today we're going to talk about how you as a tutor can use ChatGPT, both in terms of leveraging it for your teaching, but also as a business owner. We'll be talking about lesson plans, real-time assistance, professional development, analyzing and monitoring your student progress, communicating with students and parents, creating professional documents for your tutoring business. And the further you watch in this video, the bigger the nuggets of information we'll get. So definitely watch all the way until the very end because I want you to make sure you leverage ChatGPT as best as you can for your business. Hi tutor bosses, I'm Lisa. I'm the founder of Lisa Study Guides, a private tutoring company which I have recently sold, and now I focus my attention on helping tutors start and scale their tutoring businesses. So if you'd like to learn on how to build your tutoring business, or you want to follow me on my tutoring journey, then subscribe to this channel and let's go. Tip 1, materials creation. So as a tutor, you can harness ChatGPT to create engaging and creative lessons for your students. Let's take a look at an example. So basically what I've written here is please create a lesson plan for a 1-hour Zoom session for a chemistry tutoring session for an introductory level undergraduate chemistry course. The topic is Lewis structures. Surrounding that topic is electronegativity, formal charge, etc. Please include time for a brief quiz at the end. So if I shoot this through, let's see what the results are. Notice how ChatGPT is breaking down the hour into a series of stages in the session. The more detail and prompting you give ChatGPT, the helpful and more specific the lesson plan will make for you. Obviously, this is just an example that the AI software will give you. You don't absolutely have to stick to it in the way that it's suggested. It is just a suggestion. So it's up to you ultimately. If you think that you need an extra 5 minutes for Lewis structures, then go ahead, then spend an extra 5 minutes for Lewis structures. But lesson plans are only the beginning. You can also do worksheets, quizzes, diagrams, you name it. You can be as creative as you want. So let's actually further develop this quiz section. And I'm actually going to create a quiz. I've written down, please make a quiz on this topic, which has a balance of questions probing at the concept at hand, such as definition of terms, rules, etc., as well as straightforward, draw the Lewis structure for the following molecule, which have varying degrees of difficulty. My ChatGPT seems a little bit slow at the moment. I'm really making it think. But while it's actually churning out this quiz, I'll also quickly note that I have paid for ChatGPT 4. So for me, when I open up ChatGPT, you'll see I've got the ChatGPT 4 tab available. I like subscribing to ChatGPT because I find that I use it quite a bit and it provides me more insightful answers. But I would say that you don't have to pay for ChatGPT for you to leverage its capabilities. So its usual model, which is available for free users, is more than sufficient for you to go ahead and use for your tutoring business. Okay, amazing. So notice how it churns out a range of questions that address the prompts I actually inputted beforehand, including making sure that we talk about electronegativity, which I've got up here, and also Lewis structures, which it has down here. This quiz has given me 10 questions, both in terms of multiple choice questions and short answer questions, because it's amazing because it's not actually something I defined above. But I think that's the great thing about ChatGPT. It actually inspires you to create even better quizzes. Now I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute, I could have both MCQs and short answer questions, or I could go ahead and do longer form questions. I think the great thing about using ChatGPT is over time you'll actually get inspired by more ideas on how you can actually approach creating your lesson materials for your students. And so that actually leads me into my second point, which is creating specialized material for each of your individual students. I think the amazing thing about having ChatGPT is actually going to speed up your workflow in terms of creating lessons, which means that we can then start creating more tailored lesson plans for our individual students. So what I've got here is a new prompt. Please update the lesson plan from earlier to accommodate the specific learning needs of my student. They have demonstrated understanding in our prior sessions, such as when I asked them questions to check for understanding, but they experience frustration in not knowing how to translate that to studying by themselves without my immediate help. They say when they get to the exam, they sort of freeze up and feel how they they do doesn't reflect what they know. So you can see here that I've actually expressed a little bit about my student and their specific learning needs and pain points. So if I send this through, you can see that it's actually updated the lesson plan compared to the one before. And now it's actually more personalized for your student. So at the beginning, there's this emphasis on added focus on self-study techniques and exam preparation. It's given you space to focus on that for your student. We've got the chemistry itself, but then towards the end, we've got these changes. So we've got self-study techniques, so teaching things like flashcards, spaced repetition, and active recall. And we've also got a section on overcoming exam anxiety, so teaching them to manage exam stress, such as deep breathing and positive visualization. Now, if you're a tutor, you may not have had all of these ideas brimming at the forefront of your mind, but by using ChatGPT in this way, which I get really excited about, it actually helps to fuel your ideas even further. You know what the problem is, and you know that you want to help your student in a specific way, and you know you want to help your students overcome these areas they're struggling in, and ChatGPT actually brings that to life in this lesson plan. Now, my next tip is to use ChatGPT to provide real-time assistance to you during your tutoring sessions. Now, I know what a lot of you may be thinking. I don't want ChatGPT to replace me as a tutor. What if my students just go and use ChatGPT and then my work is made redundant? I am made redundant. I would say my personal approach is to embrace ChatGPT for what it is and to leverage it in a way where we can still showcase our value as a tutor, but also show our students how to best use ChatGPT so that we can all benefit together. So when you use ChatGPT inside a session, you're showing to your student, hey, I'm actually not fearful about ChatGPT. I see it as an amazing resource that we can both leverage together. And I'm not feeling fearful because I know I have value outside of ChatGPT that you won't be able to get. So here's an example. Let's say you're a pre-calculus tutor and you've got this question you're working through with your student. You've written down here, I understand that the domain is all real numbers of x except positive and negative 4. Please write all the possible ways of describing, stating the domain of f of x. So you can see that it's giving me different examples. Now, if you're not a maths tutor, that's totally fine. Basically, what I've asked for it to do is give me different examples, different ways to represent the same information. This actually saves you and the student time because otherwise you'd be sitting inside your session writing down all the different notations, whereas this just churns it out for you within seconds and sort of helps to address your point or whatever you're trying to teach your student at that point in time. So in essence, you're actually providing more value to your student by using ChatGPT because you're showcasing to them more examples, more information than if, say, you were to write it by hand. This doesn't have any bad effects on you as a tutor. It doesn't mean that you don't know the answers. You do. You're leveraging AI so you can increase your output and hopefully teach your students more during a session. Now, the fourth tip is you can actually teach your student how to use ChatGPT in their own time so that they can overcome their own hurdles and have that self-reliance. So let's just say your student asks you what is an asymptote, and they say that they understand it bounds and restricts a function in a graph, but they don't fully understand how and why this happens. You can put this information and question into ChatGPT and see what it says in response. This is particularly helpful if you're reaching at the end of a session and you feel like your student still has lots and lots of questions for you. You can increase their reliance on ChatGPT outside of the tutoring session just so that they don't feel as isolated as they may have previously. One thing I would recommend you do as a tutor though is to highlight that ChatGPT isn't the be all and end all. So I'd actually run through this example with them, show them areas where you think, oh, this is actually missing a piece of information, or actually this is incorrect, because AI is not always perfect all the time and it's important that our students understand that, and teach them if this is not quite the response they were expecting, teach them how to write better prompts inside ChatGPT so that they can get better results and better learnings from themselves. Now, another way to use ChatGPT as a tutor is for your professional development. ChatGPT can literally become your virtual virtual librarian, recommending you the best books, articles, and resources to keep you at the forefront of your field. So I've just written here that I'm a tutor who helps students write strong personal statements to medical school that demonstrate their readiness for and in alignment with various programs they apply to. Please recommend some resources such as books, articles that I can stay up to date on this field and maximize my success stories. So ChatGPT will likely prioritize quantity over quality in its recommendations when churning out a long list of materials to explore. This is advantageous to you because this means you can skim through the recommendations rather than reading every single book that's out there. Once you actually pinpoint the few that you're interested in, you can ask ChatGPT more in-depth questions to see whether or not that book or article would be a good fit for you. So once you've actually skimmed through, you can find one that most interests you. For me, it's essays that will get you into medical school, and you can actually ask more about it before you fully commit to it. So I've written, I'm intrigued by the book you mentioned, essays that will get you into medical school. Can you please tell me more about it? For instance, how long is it? I don't want to spend forever reading something. What are some of the main themes? What's missing or not included in the book? I think that's a really interesting question to ask so that you know what might not actually be covered in it, so that you are aware if it's worth investing your time. So as you can see here, it's broken my question down into the main themes, what's missing or not included, and that's super helpful to help me decide whether or not this is a book I want to continue with. Another amazing way to use ChatGPT as a tutor is to analyze and keep track of your students' progress. If I use the prompt, please create a student progress report for an SAT tutoring client, what this does is it can help me in tracking and analyzing student progress over time. By inputting student data and performance metrics, ChatGPT can help me identify trends, areas for improvement, and opportunities for further support for the student. Notice how even with my little input, it's created this overall objective of increasing the SAT score by at least 150 points, and it's created an initial assessment based off that and progress points that we want to try to strive towards, which is amazing. Of course, you want to iterate this for your students. So if you've got a student and you know their results, you know where you want them to be and where they want to be, then that's when I would update this overall objective. So what's put out here is probably not the final product we will use, but that's where updating ChatGPT with additional information can come in really handy. Let's say if I want to take this a step further, I've just written this down. Please update this report so each student includes a 20-minute assessment. I want to track the trends of scores across within subjects session to session, as well as seeing if there is any relationship between what we spent the remainder of the session doing. So here I'm inputting more information for ChatGPT based on what I want to see. It's creating this amazing table for me to actually keep note of and to record down what happened in each of those sessions. I really like having this note section because otherwise we'd only have the assessment score, and the metrics, the quantitative data, doesn't actually factor in other aspects that may have actually influenced the student's results for that session. So let's say for this session, the student did quite well, getting 35 out of 40, but the week after and the following week, they did a little bit poorly before actually improving yet again. Without extra context, we may just think that writing and math are challenging for this student, whereas reading is their strong point. However, in my notes, if I'd written something additional down, like they've got extra assessments this week, they're really stressed this week because of XYZ, or something has happened with their family, those sort of extra notes help you really contextualize the information that's there, and it's going to help you have a more empathetic approach in helping your student. You can continue to update this over time as well. So let's just say if I've got the results on these specific dates, you can also continue to update this progress report. So once you've actually got that data and you've got extra notes to put in, it can be worth actually inputting it into ChatGPT to see what ChatGPT is thinking. So with the observations and trends, it can help to reaffirm what you've already been thinking, but also potentially help you see beyond maybe something that you've been missing. I love that it also has recommendations for you. So to consolidate strands, investigate this particular assessment, mindfulness of physical state, and target specific areas. Again, things you may have already been thinking about or potentially something that might have been missing in your game plan for your student. Another amazing way to use ChatGPT as a tutor is to communicate with your parents and students. Let's say you're a tutor who's just starting out in your business and you're getting leads into your business. People are interested in having you as their tutor, but you're not necessarily sure how to message them back. What you can do is you can actually ask ChatGPT how to best approach these conversations. So I've got here, I'm an English tutor messaging a lead. This is her message to me. Hello, my name is, etc. I'm looking for an English tutor to help me with my reading and writing assignments. What are your prices? I want to book them into a sales call, but I don't want to come off too salesy. This is something that a lot of my clients often say when they come to me looking for help on how to start their tutoring businesses. And so you can ask, how should I respond to them? Should I answer their question given that I don't like to discuss finances until we get onto the call? And just see what ChatGPT says, because messaging people, having these sales conversations is an art form within itself. And it's likely that as a tutor, you may have had experience as a teacher, but you may not have experience as a salesperson. So ChatGPT can help you with some ideas here. So it's churned out a response for me. It's helped me navigate that conversation about pricing and not exactly answer it, but lead up to the point of asking if they would be willing to have a chat with me on a phone call. Now, once you're done using this example and they respond to you again, you can come back to ChatGPT again with the next response from that parent or student and just see what ChatGPT suggests as a follow-up response. Now, just as an FYI, if you are somebody who is kickstarting your tutoring business or you're looking to scale it, I do have an ebook named The Biggest Mistakes I Made Making My First Six Figures. And I do talk a little bit there about communication with parents and tutors, setting expectations with them, and I also talk about pricing as well. So if you're interested in that ebook, it's completely free. Feel free to download that for free in the description box below, because I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did when I was first starting out on my tutoring journey. One of the best ways you can use ChatGPT as a tutor is to legitimize your business. No matter what business you're running, you want to have a professional image and you want to boost your credibility. And professional documents like contracts can really help you take your business to the next level. That's why when it comes to any of my Tutor Boss clients, I always give them professional contracts drafted up by lawyers that they can use within their own businesses. But I completely get it. Hiring a lawyer can be really expensive and often out of budget for a lot of people out there. So if hiring a lawyer is out of budget for you, then that's when I would suggest ChatGPT. Now, I'm just going to put a disclaimer. Obviously, ChatGPT is not a lawyer, and I'm not saying that ChatGPT is going to replace a lawyer. I would say that as soon as you have the budget to invest in getting a contract, an official one for your business, then definitely do so that you can protect yourself. But in the meantime, some sort of documentation is going to be better than no documentation at all, which I've been there myself. And if you know my journey, then you know that it really bit me in the ass not having a contract, because I had a tutor who completely ripped off my business and copied the entire thing and started off her own tutoring business. So I've definitely learned from my mistakes, which is why I definitely want you to learn from my mistakes too and not repeat them. What you can do is to create a tutoring agreement document for your clients and with you as the company. So I've written here, include sections describing pricing, termination, non-refund policy. Please use a tone which is professional yet fosters a sense of belonging and community. Make clear that the mission of Ace Tutoring Company is to inspire and prepare university-bound students through superior instruction and critical thinking skill development. So let's see what it spits back out. This is definitely better than nothing. If you're somebody who struggles to write professional documentation, maybe you're just not the best writer, or maybe you're just not too sure how to keep things more formal and adopt that tone, then that's where ChatGPT can come in really handy. Having some sort of agreement like this is better than nothing at all, because at least you're setting expectations and boundaries with your clients. You're letting them know, hey, here's our termination agreement, here's our cancellation policy. Everything is written down. So if there are ever any issues that come up for you later on, at least you can say, hey, I actually had written it all down. We'd both signed this agreement, so we should be on the same page. You can always refer back to that documentation. An incredible way for you to leverage ChatGPT as a tutor is for marketing purposes. So let's say you want to ask for a student testimonial. You're not sure how to best ask them for that testimonial, and you feel like you want to give them some sort of incentive to do do so. So that's what I've written down here. If I press enter, I can see what ChatGPT will provide me as a sample email. This way, if you're somebody who's not a natural marketer, you're not sure how to feel, you feel a little bit ick when it comes to asking your students for a testimonial, it provides you with a small template or just somewhere to start off with. And of course, as always, once you read this, you can take what you like, you can dismiss what you don't like, you can continue to iterate by providing ChatGPT more prompts so that it can get closer and closer to your perfect email. Those are my best tips on how you can use ChatGPT as a tutor, not only within your sessions and with your students, but also as a business owner. Because if you're a tutor, it's likely that you've got the business aspect that you need to deal with. Now, if you found this video helpful, then I think you're really going to enjoy my other video, whichever direction it is, my top 10 tips on how to be a better tutor. In that video, I talk more about some of the things we've touched on today, including setting boundaries with parents and students, how to communicate best with them, how to track progress, including keeping notes, and more. So if you'd like to learn more, then head over onto that video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!